introduction. Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm taking a different route and I'm interviewing one of my close friends. He's my when I talk about in my previous videos that I had guidance from my friends, he was one of the guys who guided me throughout my FMG journey. So this is Dr. Rahul, and I would expect a clap,
Hi guys.
but
Yeah. Really nice to be here, Arafat. Yeah.
please, if you don't mind, like I can give the introduction, but I'll hype it up. But please go ahead, just tell us about yourself.
So I'm Dr. Rahul Binoy, like Arafat mentioned, and I recently cleared the FMG, which happened in July. It wasn't my first attempt. The first, so it was on my second attempt that I cleared it. And yeah, so I'm waiting on my internships to start, and hopefully we'll see how it goes from there.
Where can you tell us about where did you study? Where did you finish your MD from? And when did you start preparation for your FMG?
Yeah, so I did my MD from Georgia, Tbilisi, in from TSMU. And
Hmm.
after I graduated, I joined a coaching center actually called Arise Medical Academy.
Okay. So the main source for your preparation in your first attempt and second attempt was Arise. You're saying first attempt
Yeah,
was Arise.
yeah, it was Arise.
Yeah, I just
And
want to clear it out even to the viewers that see, I feel like the reason I'm doing this interview is because I put a lot of respect on Rahul. Like he's one of my really close friend as well. But if you see, like I'm not fascinated by all the stories, people scoring 200 and everything. But the story which I'm covering today is basically the reason why I put so much respect is that he scored in his first attempt was 149, and which is crazy to me. Like it's insane, and I don't know how you pick yourself back up from that loss, because I even spoke to him before he gave his second attempt, and I spoke, like I got to know his mental, where his state was. So I find it, like I think this is the thing which everyone needs to hear about, and I think everyone learn a lot, because I learned a lot of things, and I even asked for guidance from Rahul. Anyways, let's moving forward. So as he mentioned that his first, I mean, he used Arise as his coaching. Can you please tell us about uh, people confused between choosing coaching or shall they go for subscription? What is your opinion on it?
I feel that if you feel your base is quite strong and you can maintain discipline for up to like 5 to 6 months, I really don't think you need any subscription of sorts. Maybe like a Q bank for sure. And
Mhm.
but depending on whatever resource you follow, just stick to that for the 5 6 months and just keep doing a lot of questions, and I think you'll be good to go. So for me, the problem was I did not have discipline. Like if I was at home, I couldn't sit for the hours needed for the exam, especially.
Mhm.
So, and I tried doing it by myself. I had taken the online version and I just couldn't sit through.
Mhm.
So that's when I chose, okay, I'll go for the offline route. And
Okay.
yeah,
So you had your offline batch in Kerala, I believe, right?
yeah, it was in Kannur in Kerala. Yeah.
Okay. You also mentioned that you had a question bank. Were you using the coaching question bank, or did you have like any subscription?
The first attempt, I was just mainly referring to FMG Solutions and the QBank that was provided by the Arise Medical Academy
Okay.
itself. In the
Okay.
second attempt, though, yeah, I did take Prep Ladder, the QBank that was, and I found it really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, even I feel like a lot of people have people in getting to start, they're starting FMG, they get confused between what question bag to take, whether there's a big debate between Prep Ladder versus Maru or anything else like dog tutorials or something. Do you think, is there a debate about, or you should just choose what you feel comfortable?
See, honestly, you can just choose. But for me personally, like I really like the prep ladder interface just so that even if you get a question wrong, they had detailed explanation about all the options. And yeah, even when I took the Q bank, I mainly just focused on the previous year questions for of FMG and NEET PG and INICT as well. It's
Oh,
so.
so actually, yeah, that's good. So you can tell us about how you solve question, because I personally, when I went for my attempt, I just did mainly FMG, and I believe the reason was that there was a very short time period in that June July attempt.
Yeah.
I do more than that. So can
Yeah.
you tell us about the NEET PG and INIS that you mentioned about?
No, the thing is, so one of the professors, I remember it was the pathology professor. So he had especially made sure that we had to cover up not only FMG questions, but when you have time to go through NEET PG and the last 2 to 3 years of INICT, at least of the main subjects. So that's when I really tried and from especially for my second attempt from the second month or so, I did start doing at least 50 to 60 questions a day. And then I
Hmm.
moved up to about like 90 or 100 questions towards the end.
Okay.
So because of that, I could cover all the the PYQs of FMG for the last 5 6 years, NEET PG also up to 3 to 4 years, and INICT as well. And towards the last phase of the preparations, I was just mainly doing questions,
Okay.
questions, and yeah,
Mm.
that was my main go-to.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so I'll just jump into your story mainly. So how, like, I feel like I personally wouldn't be able to get back. Like, how did you manage to start all over? Because there are a lot of people. See, if yours is very tight, because one mark can get like destroy all your mental. There are people like are going for the second and third. So how did you manage to start all over?
Oh yeah, I mean the starting it was really bad. I can't lie. It was terrible. In fact, for the first couple of weeks after the results, it was just really I wasn't in a very good mental state. And so I just realized I needed a break. I took a break for about 3 to 4 weeks. I just was with my family and I went and met a couple of my friends. And
Hmm.
yeah, but at that point I had this some motivation that okay, now I've come this far and I cannot let it be because I had put so much effort already.
Correct.
And yeah, with my first attempt, if I could reach 149, I was just telling myself, okay, next time anyways you are going to clear, so you have to give it a try. So yeah, and then my parents also were pretty supportive. Initially, though, they were like, "Do you want to give this exam or do you want to check on other options?" But yeah, it was then at that point I was really motivated, honestly. And I all I did was I just went back to the same place. I just took the library and I just used the notes that I had. I didn't take the classes again. I just
Hmm.
used the notes that I had and just started reading them all over again. And
Yeah, I wanted to ask this leading to the same question is that what was the major differences between the first time and the second time? And then I ask you again about if there are any mistakes to be avoided or things which can be done better because with the experience you have gotten. So let's start with like what are the key differences between the first and second time?
yeah, I'd say the first time around, I gave so much more importance to the theory bit. I always had that feeling if I do questions or give a GT without studying all the subjects, I'm not doing it right. Or so that basically prevented me from doing a lot of questions. But second time around, I knew better. Like to be honest, I just realized that doing as much as questions possible is really the key thing that can change from failing to passing. And
Okay.
so that's why really from the start I did focus a lot more on the question second time around. But
Hmm.
yeah, and then first time around I tried to cram up a lot of subjects. I didn't give much preferences to some subjects which I was actually good at. I tried to cram it all in. Even if I wasn't good at a subject, during the last phase, I used to give more time to it, which I don't
Hmm.
think should be the strategy, especially like towards the end phase. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We shouldn't. Okay. Okay. I see. I see. I'll ask about the revision. Moving forward. So, as you said, like you are giving more. So basically, you are saying that if you from now, like people even who are about to give the exam, prioritize solving questions more and more.
Oh,
That is.
definitely. The whole FMG, the last 5 to 6 years,
Mhm.
question for sure. And then depending on the time that you have, you can choose the NEET PG or INICT questions as well.
I personally feel need PG because they're from the same body, and then
Yeah.
if you can go for INI set, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, exactly, definitely. So the thing is, even if the question as such doesn't repeat, there's a lot of previous years
Yeah.
topics that keep
Mm.
repeating. And if
Correct.
you know, if you've, especially if you've made a mistake in one question and you've read why it went
Mhm.
wrong, and if a similar question has popped up in the exam, it's a
Mhm.
relieving thing. At least you're sure that okay, this question isn't going.
Yeah.
So
You get an idea about what are the trends of question both the bodies are asking and their
yeah, yeah,
potential.
definitely, definitely. That's the case.
Okay, you're talking about more questions. So I would like to ask, like, how many GTs have you given in your first attempt and in the second attempt, and how was it different? Like, did you increase the number of GTs, or were you doing some things which were like holding you back? What do you think about it?
So yeah, the first time around, I remember I just given I think two GTs, and that was towards the end of my preparation. It was the last month or
Oh,
so, and
okay.
I did another blunder where I gave a GT just like a week before the exam, which really
Crazy.
put me down. But so, but yeah, then after that it was just yeah the last week during my first time around. That was, yeah, it was pretty stressful. And I just remembering not being in the best of mental state because a GT, especially during that time, is very volatile. You can
Mm-hmm.
either feel really good or overconfident, I might say, or it can really put you down as well. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know about that. So even for me, so when my game my GT was like 7 to 10 days before the exam,
Oh.
and I got exactly what I scored in the exam. So when I
Oh,
got
okay.
that, I was like very happy. I was like, yeah, that's it. Got to score this, and luckily that happened. Anyways, luck played a game. But I think that's a better advice that you shouldn't rely on giving a GT in the last week because, as you said, it's um,
Definitely, it can go either ways, and I wouldn't, suggest anyone to take that chance, especially during their last week where you need to be on really high morale. All you should be caring about is just revising the notes, just looking
correct.
through the PYQs, and only that. You shouldn't do GTs at that time.
Great, great. About how many revisions? Like, what about the revisions? And how many revisions you had, you think you had, and second time how you approached revision differently.
So yeah,
And
I think the second time around it was like, yeah, if I'm not wrong, 4 months or 4.5 months was the from the last result to the time of the exam. It was around that time.
hmm
So first 2 months I just focused on like reading through all the notes that I had, like taking like 4 to 5 days for big subjects and take
hmm
2 or 3 days for the smaller subjects. And I tried completing it around 2.5 months, and then the remaining 1.5 months it was just revising. Like I used to follow some of my friends used to have the Arise membership, obviously. So I just used to follow their timetable as such. So I would, especially for the revision, that
okay.
helped. And yeah, I'd say around maybe 3 revisions I could cram in, especially for the big subjects. Towards the end, I had prioritized. To be honest, I don't know if that's the strategy to go with, but was something that worked for me was I prioritized really on 14 subjects, which I was actually good at, and I made sure that if a question is coming from that set of notes, I wouldn't get it wrong. So that's what I really focused on.
Okay.
So especially 3 revisions for 3 or 4 revisions maybe for the good subjects, the 12 to 14 subjects that I was really good at, and the remaining towards the end, maybe just like once I would have read the notes and
Mhm.
maybe done the PYQs. Yeah.
What should be like remaining towards the end? Like, what is that timeline? Is it like 10 days, 7 days, 4 days?
Yeah. I remember the last 10 days I was just keeping on reading the subjects that I was actually good at.
What is maximum you can do in that 10 days?
Ye-
Basically,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, and but you should not, especially the last 2 to 3 weeks, do not take any more information into your brain. All you should be doing is either revise or just do PYQs and see where you're making mistakes, especially if it's frequently asked questions. And if you're getting it wrong, just make sure
correct,
that you really understand the concept to not make that mistake.
correct. Okay, okay. Um, what else? What else? I was gonna ask a follow-up question on that. Uh, so like when you were revising, right? Did you apply any new strategies? Because I think the second time it was purely revision, was it?
Yeah.
Did you get another subscription? Did you watch some new sources, new videos? Nothing.
No, no, nothing. I mean, to be honest, nothing else other than I must say the 25 questions that missed uploads in their YouTube channel.
Very good, yeah.
That is really good,
Yeah,
especially for pharma micro.
yeah,
The man is an absolute genius. Like
yeah, yeah.
he'll be talking about some questions, and you'd find the ditto questions coming up for the exam. And I was actually really happy that I did revise, especially towards the end phase. I had watched, so I did remember the questions. And even though I wouldn't know what the question was, I just know this was the answer because I had seen it like in his
The
video. So,
extra resources video, that top 25 series I missed is actually
oh
top tier.
yeah, it that is unmatched to be honest, especially for your last revision bit. That is
Mhm.
too
Correct.
helpful, really helpful.
Okay, getting back to the revision bit again. So let's say some people have a lot of confusion. Like when do they, like as you said, towards the end you should not get more knowledge. You should focus on revision.
Yeah.
What is the ideal time? Like they're not able to finish things, that they should decide like now is the time. That's it. I'm now gonna focus on revision. I'm now gonna start learning new subject or new topics.
I'd say, especially if you're giving it the first time around, like 1.5 months at least should be just given for revision.
Just give
Because
it.
till then, you'd be really focused on getting through the subjects. And especially if you're following some coaching centers, they'll only be done just remaining 1.5 months. So you
Mm.
cannot choose to add in more information to your brain at that point. All you can do and all is that's really needed is just revise the content that you have and just do as many questions that you can.
Let's see. Let's say I have I have done the main subjects. I've done the clinicals. I've done the pre-clinicals, or
Hmm.
maybe one of my pre-clinical, like let's say, pharma is pending, and lot of the miscellaneous subject like derma, ortho, radio are pending,
Hmm.
and I have reaching that 2 month before my exam.
Yeah.
Like, what do you should recommend me?
I'd say like I mean 2 months if it's remaining, maybe take another 2 weeks to see as much as the subjects that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But once that mark hits of like at least like 1.5 months, like I don't think you should do anything else. And as if you've crossed that 12 to 14, if you feel like those subjects are your stronghold or you've done enough. Especially you can maybe judge yourself by doing like 30 or 40 questions, and if you're at least getting 50 to 60% of them right, that's one of your good subjects. So if you
Okay.
focus more on those subjects, I really feel you can do much better because the probability of them going wrong is really less, and that's what you
Mm-hmm.
need to make towards the end of the exam at least.
In a way, it can be, you're saying that if we're reaching that 1.5 month period, and let's say I have two subjects remaining, is it okay for someone to leave it out and just focus on the revision, making the subjects stronger?
Yeah, I'd say you should be doing that. Maybe if you feel like you're that obviously that FOMO also hits in. So maybe you can look on a rapid revision video or so something or just do a couple of PYQs of
Yeah,
those subjects and I think you're good to go because just doing the PYQs itself, you get an idea of what sort of topics they are really focusing on. And if you just read about that, I think if not full from those subjects, I guess at least you should be getting at least 40 to 50 from those subjects. And I think that's
correct.
very much enough for you to get through.
Okay, I'm gonna ask more about revision again. Someone asked me as well, like, what will be the revision strategy you used and you think is better, or something you haven't done you could have done is better, especially for the main subjects as well, because they hold like big chunk of marks. So, what is the strategy you use? Like, how do you revise things? How did you revise it in the first time and the second time throughout your experience?
So the thing with me is I can't sit with the subject for more than like 2 days or I need some sort of change. So what I did and personally worked for me was I taken uh what do you say a gap of like maybe 2 or 3 days and I tell myself okay I need to do one big subject and a small subject with that time, especially for the revision so that I don't get burned out. Just looking at if for
Okay.
example, if I'm just looking at PSM for especially towards the end, and all you're reading is so much data again and again. So I used to get really burned out. So that's when I'd take PSM with a small subject. So I'd get through with both of them, maybe taking an extra day, but I'd get through like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did. And that personally worked out for me. I guess I could retain more information and also, I did this thing where so two of my hardest subjects were pharma and PSM. It was very volatile, and I used to really forget it. So especially during the
Correct.
last 2.5 to 3 months, I made sure that I gave those subjects like 20 minutes or 25 minutes a day, so that every day I had
Great.
something to read from that subject and I didn't feel like, okay, that's totally out of my memory. Because PSM,
Great.
I'd go through the full subject and in 2 days I felt like I remember nothing. So I used to do that and I really felt that helped me out. And yeah.
I'm smiling because even I did the same thing for anatomy, PSM, and I think micro also towards.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
gave that extra minutes daily for the subjects, and it helped. Definitely, it helped. Like giving that extra time because very volatile subjects, man. I
that's
don't know
all.
how people are FPSM. Do you know the size of the mosquito net?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
exactly, man. So
Um. Okay. Another question. What will you do? Let's say you are starting. You are going to give the FMG exam again.
mm.
I mean, don't worry. Don't get
Okay.
don't get. So you have like about 3 4 months to prepare. How will you start the preparation? Can you just break it down? Whatever you can talk about it.
If I had like 4 months of preparation, I'd see how much I can do in about 2 months, and I'd
Mm.
hope I'll be covering at least about 12 subjects, 12 to 14, and then I might give in another 2 weeks just to do a couple of rapid revision videos or just the main content from the other subjects. And after that, the rest 1.5 months, I'll just focus on the main, like the 12 to 14 that I've chosen, and just keep doing that again and again while doing some questions from the subjects that I left.
How many GTs will you would you give? Like, think is ideal for you?
I'd say more than just giving the GTs, I really feel reviewing it is much important. And
Great.
first time around, I really lacked on that. For me, giving the GT was itself was such a big hassle, and it honestly takes a lot of your day. Yeah. And
Mm.
like I said, I had given it towards the end, so I didn't get much time to review it as well. So I'd say the second time around, I did give around 4 or 5 GTs. Four, I think, 4 GTs, and yeah, I think that was good to go. Nothing during the last 2 weeks, but
Nothing.
the last GTA game was around three, 3 or 4 weeks before the exam, and then I was just focusing on revision. So yeah.
Okay. So 4 months. Okay. Yeah, what is the ideal time do you think is for the preparation? Like you said 4 months, then you said 2 months you'd finish 12 or 13 subjects. So you think 4 months is not ideal? Maybe more time is better. Like
Yeah,
what
I
is the
mean,
ideal time?
see, that honestly depends on where your base level is at, like, especially with what you're starting and everything. I
Fair.
really felt I was lacking on my base. So, if it was someone like me, I'd definitely say 5 months at
Five.
least you would need
3 months of finishing the videos and everything.
videos
The last
and
months is
yeah.
going vision with about 4 5 GTs. And
Yep.
I think you fair. Any extra tips and tricks you would have for the viewers, people like you can tell it's something you used extra.
Extra tip is just I'd honestly I'd always preach about this whole if you're really bad at 2 or 3 subjects, you could use that method of giving each day around like 20 minutes per subject.
Mm-hmm.
And now whichever friends that I've told it about as well, I really feel that has helped them out as well. So I
Mm-hmm.
really think that you could do to help you out. And other than that, I'd say just questions, to be honest.
Question. I was gonna say, I think the best advice anyone can give you is just questions, and revise the questions from it.
Yeah, whenever you get some even like 5 minutes, if you can do about 20, 10 questions, that's really, and if you have 5 or 10 sessions like those, and that's good to go. You're really on the right
Yeah.
track. So,
I mean, even reviewing GT you mentioned. So I personally, I did my first GT and I tried to review it,
uh,
and I did review 20 question in full day, and I was, oh, I'm not doing this. So
yeah.
I had a FOMO. Like even the exam, even after I cleared the exam, I was like, back of my head, yeah, I have 3 4 GTs to be
Yeah.
reviewed. I just sleep at night and I open my eyes. I have a GT left.
No, I
Crazy.
mean, I don't think reviewing it all together used to work for me. So I used to take small chunks Every other
Hmm.
day, I'd look through 40, 50 questions. And if I gave a GT, I'd look through it throughout the week. So that's all
Yes.
I could do.
Be more quick. I mean, if you're doing it very deeply, it is amazing. But since towards the end, sometimes you have FOMO that you could do better out of
Oh,
this day. So
definitely.
yeah,
Oh,
every
like,
hour counts. Every hour feels very short.
exactly. So, especially towards the end, doing that and just spending about 3 hours just on revising questions. That's I could never do that because I used to, like you said, the FOMO
Oh.
is very real, like towards the end, especially.
So
So,
a lot of people are going into that phase now. It's about 2 months left for the upcoming FMG.
yeah,
So
yeah.
anything extra you would like to add for these guys, or maybe you can tell something, for out of motivation as well, and we can end the video over here.
Oh, I'd say
Last ones, yeah.
yeah, so 2 months more, just I think everyone preparing would have done enough content about now sometime around, and they should just stay confident with whatever resources that they've chosen for sure. And
Mm.
now is not the time to take in more anything at all. Like your friend might have done this and he would say otherwise, but just like trust yourself. You've chosen something, just go with it, even if now about maybe two GTs you might be giving, and to be honest, I know that one of them is gonna go really bad, but that is what will really up the game, I feel. And you'd be really sad for maybe a couple of hours, but then you'd really need to get back up, and you spend all this time for, an exam like this, and that whole passing coming in the result is really, really worth it. I mean, especially after you've given so much effort, seeing that pass coming in the results is it's a wonderful feeling, I must say. But yeah,
Okay. How does it actually? How does it feel like? How does it feel like? Because see, also prior to that, answer me this thing like how. Like, see, even like how did my first attempt and whatnot, my mentor was going crazy towards the end. I remember talking to you, Aditya as well. I mean, he's one of
yeah,
our
yeah,
close. I would text Aditya often and tell him how I'm feeling, other friends as well. I didn't want to bother you because you were giving the exam. So it was crazy for me. But for you, it was a bit extra because you had that more, I don't know, pressure, not from the people, but from yourself, I feel.
yeah, yeah.
So that motivation and like how did you deal mental fatigue, and how did you keep your mental in the right check?
So I would say there are obviously going to be good days and bad days. And like, yeah, if you feel like you're really having a bad day and like there's nothing that you're reading going into your head, like maybe actually take a break. Just do actually just watch something that you like, or like just because all this sounds, especially towards the last month, really sounds crazy because oh, you spending 1 hour for not studying, especially during the last month, is totally out of the question. But there's no point in you stressing yourself more when you really can't put more information into your head. So if you really feel burned out, just take a break. Maybe like this 3 4 hours that you're really taking out is not going to matter. And it's a
Right.
very cliched line that every professor uses, I guess. Like it's not a race, it's a marathon. So I mean, yeah, it's actually it does come to that, So even if you take that time off, it really isn't a bad thing. It'll really help you get back up, is what I feel. And just don't beat yourself up if you have 1 or 2 or 3 bad days back to back and you felt like you could have done more. Just go along. You've done enough. Make you like tell yourself that you're doing enough, and really don't beat yourself too much, and everything's going to turn out fine.
I hope so. Not for us, I'm worried for these guys. I'm
Yeah.
joking. Yes, Um, great. I think this is gonna help out a lot of people because you mention about everything. You talk about coaching, you talk about Maru, prep ladder, you talk about first and second motivation, everything. So I think it's gonna be a great watch for these guys. And again, in anyone who wants interested to ask something to Rahul or to me, the group is there by the way. They text me often in Telegram.
Oh,
So
okay.
they can reach out to me. I can even share Rahul's contact. I'll probably like if anyone wants to speak with Rahul. So yeah, that can pretty much be done. Anyways, so thank you for having us. Thank you, Rahul, for doing this. I'm gonna when I meet you, I'm gonna pay you. Yeah,
Oh, it's all right, man. Happy to, and
perfect, perfect. Thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.
all
Until
right.
next.
Bye bye. Bye bye.